All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Film Hustlers.
Just be natural, player.
I can't. I don't have a natural bone in my body, but I want to welcome all of the listeners every week, the hustlers from all over the world, because, dude, second to the United States, Germany listens to us the most.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Alemania?
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute, Germany. So anyway, if you're listening and you're in Germany, would you send IG? What do you call them? Messages? IG message?
DM.
Oh, I'm sorry.
God,
Would you?
Yeah.
He was about to throw out his MySpace account and shit.
Send us.
Send us a telegram, please.
Slide in some pigeons. You got some pigeons with some. Hey, don't that touchy subject.
They'll get into that. But yeah, if you're in Germany, send us a DM. I want to hear where you live and why you listen to the show. Are you a filmmaker? Like whatever. But I'm very curious because it is second to the United States, and I find that fascinating. There must be something we're saying that makes sense out there in Germany. So
we were number one in Peru at one point. Remember that?
That's right. Peru. But then they got bored. They heard something. Yeah, they got bored. I don't know what happened.
Well, you got all preachy, and they're like, forget this.
But today we're welcoming a very special talent creator. His name is Concrete.
What's up?
Welcome,
What's up,
Concrete.
Con?
What's up?
This show is all about like the journey. It's more about like content creating now. It's not really about filmmaking or TV making or it's all kind of created one thing. And you're a really good example of that. I saw you recently, but a few months ago I went to a show called Way Out Loud that Mario Lopez hosted, that you are also a partner in. And it was at the Laugh Factory, and you were amazing. The whole night was amazing. You hosted the thing, and you killed it. And there was DJs, and there was drinking, and there was food. It was amazing. It was a really cool night. And then after that, you worked on a movie, A Christmas Spark, which is now called The Christmas Spark. And I was like, wait a minute, this is the guy from the comedy show. And then you killed it as an actor, which you were fairly serious, right? You were playing like a...
Yeah.
You were...
Yeah, it wasn't a comedy role for sure.
Yeah, how did you approach that role? Like, and I'm telling you, if you guys haven't seen Concrete, you got to go. This is a full-on experience. You're an experience. You're not just a comedian. But how do you switch to acting after that?
Man, I mean, realistically, I always wanted to do more serious roles and drama roles. The comedy thing was... Obviously, I mean, it's always like I've always had a funny bone, and I've always been, my parents are really funny. They've always played comedy. I grew up watching nothing but comedy on TV, from the SNLs to there was Mexican movies called like Risa en Vacaciones, which were like all like sketch-based comedy shows. Down to like Mad TV and Living Color, like all that stuff was like always prevalent to me watching stuff,
Yeah.
But also I always like knew that I wanted to do more serious stuff too. I mean, growing up, I was like, from the moment I was like 8, 9, I knew I wanted to be in entertainment. There was nothing besides me wanting to be in the NBA, which was another crazy dream, right?
You never know, fool.
But once I didn't make the varsity team in the 11th grade.
Once his feet stopped growing at 8.
Yeah.
He wears a size 8.
Yeah, I was like, this is it. I decided to really just take it in there. But it's one of those things where it's I always wanted to do serious roles, and whenever those are presented, I really like to really hone in on it and really show that I can really
well,
do it.
You're an amazing comedian. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody like command a room the way you did that night. And then you had a whole bunch of other people to bring on, and then you did sketches. There was a lot of stuff. You dressed up like different characters.
Yeah,
there was a lot of stuff going on. And then when you came on the movie, and we had a little fun at the end, where you played the DJ too. You took David Dave's job on
thanks,
that one.
Bro.
But no, that also showed a lighter version of you and really gave the character an arc. But you were great. You were great in both. I want to hear how you started and how you got to where you're at.
I started really. It could have been 9th, 10th grade. The easiest way was like to become a DJ and to kind of get my foot in the door.
And you grew up where?
I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, specifically in San Fernando and Arleta. I started DJing really young, like at 12, 13. I started doing like quinceañeras and weddings. I had no business doing it. I had no business being out there till midnight, 1 o'clock DJing. But just to make a little extra money for the fam, that's what we had to do. So I started producing I started making beats. Like I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I'm done. I need you to help me get this MPC, this Akai MPC. It's about $2,000.
Akai, that's funny.
I'm like, but honestly, Dad, I'm like, do me a favor. If you buy me this, I won't be in the streets. I'll just be in the garage, and and that's exactly what happened. I ended up paying for it, payments, but it got to the point where I was producing. And I gave myself a goal when I was 15. I was like, in the next 5 years, I'm gonna have a song on the radio. Because at the time, in the early 2000s, it was kind of like late 90s, early 2000s. It was like to have a song on the radio was a thing to do. That was like, okay, you're on the right path. You know what I'm saying?
Is that like Jelly Bean Benitez sort of thing?
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay. He was a DJ that
did like 1920 shit.
Yeah, guys like Ludacris did it. Ludacris was a DJ. Then he became like a vocal jockey, and then he became a rapper, and then he blew up. And that was kind of like the trajectory that I was kind of taking at the time, DJing, producing, and I ended up building my own studio like in my garage. And I gave myself those 5 years, and at that time I was just producing for other rappers, and I wasn't finding like that right combination of from beats to the good lyrics or that voice, and I decided to start rapping myself. And, one thing led to another. I just kept recording, kept getting better. I found my voice. I found my persona and in a way through the mic. And my first record was in 2002 when we got it on Power 106 here in L.A., which it's one of the biggest radio stations here in L.A. It's a powerhouse, you know. No pun intended, but...
And it's all over the nation, too.
And it's all over the nation, too. So, I mean, that was one of, like, the biggest accomplishments. I got signed early on, too. I got signed by Steve LaBelle. To A to Z Entertainment. Me and Nipsey got signed the same week.
Oh wow!
Rest in peace. Me and Nipsey got signed the same week. I remember going to Steve LaBelle's house, and Steve LaBelle has managed from Mariah Carey to Bone Thugs and Harmony to the list goes on. He's managed so many people, and I was one of like the first Latino rappers here in LA that he actually took on. And I remember meeting him, and he was like, "Yo, man, I love your record." I had this record called Industry Beefs that took off in the city. I was giving away the CDs, and it just kind of took off, and that kind of gave me a buzz. And he was like, "Man, I'm gonna sign you, but I also have this other kid." He's like, "I have this song, and it's called Bulletin Got No Names. I want you to hear it. His name is Nipsey." And I was like, "All right, cool. Let me listen to it." And it was a great record. I was like, "Man, this is dope." And he's like, "Cool, man. I'm gonna sign you both this week. You guys are on. Let's do it."
Wow, that's big.
Lo and behold, never did I think, none of us would be where we're at now. Rappers come and go. Rappers are a dime a dozen. Obviously, he went and created his brand and made it big, and unfortunately lost his life, due to gun violence. But, and then I kind of stepped away and I went the other way.
You stepped away from rapping?
From rapping in 2008. My manager, my best friend, he was my hype man on stage. He passed away in 2008 of an overdose.
Oh, sorry.
And I was devastated. At this time, we were already touring. We were out doing shows. Things are going great. Like, we were starting to book more and more shows out of the city. We started touring. We were on the Vans Warped Tour for a little bit. We were starting to do big venues. I was opening up for a lot of big artists at the time, from like DJ Quick, Too Short, all like just a bunch of rappers. I used to do I did every club you can imagine right here on the Hollywood Strip, from the Key Club, the House of Blues, Viper Room, the Knitting Factory,
Rainbow.
All those clubs there, I did them. Shout out to Sean Healy too. He was one of the promoters, and I think he's still promoting to this day. And in 2008, he passed away, and I decided just to kind of, I kind of felt like the rap game was a facade. It was like this, like none of this shit is real. And when it was going good, everybody was calling me, "Hey man, tickets for your show. We got the girls and we got the drugs and this everything. It's fun, bro. It's fun." And at that time too, you couldn't tell me anything. I'm 21. I'm getting money. I'm getting $3,000-$4,000 a night as a 21-year-old back at those times. Man, by the time Sunday came, I had a show on Friday. By the time Sunday came, that shit was gone.
Really?
Oh yeah, because I had no financial guidance. It was just kind of like, and then you got the ego part of it. Like my ego's off the roof. People can't tell me shit. It was like. So it was really rough. And then so I'm doing my thing. My buddy's doing his thing. So I couldn't tell him like, don't be doing that shit, because I was doing my own shit.
Right, you're like,
too,
give me some. Hey, stop doing it.
Yeah, like we just had different, drug choices, So he wouldn't tap into mine, I wouldn't tap into his, And again, so he loses his life. I kind of feel like I don't want to be a part of this industry anymore, but I wanted to stay within the entertainment industry.
Music or entertainment in general?
Entertainment in general. I just didn't want to be a part of the rap facade that I felt was just like fake, you know?
So what was next?
I decided to go back into like my acting gig, and really wanted to be an actor. And I was mildly successful. I mean, I ended up booking a few films. I booked a film. My first feature was with me and Richard Cabral, which he ended up eventually getting nominated for like a Golden Globe or
I love
something,
that guy. Yeah,
or
he's
something
great.
like And so me and him did our first feature, and it was called Green Card Warriors. And that was with Vivica A. Fox. It was a really great film. It still gets played on HBO till this day. Like I'm still seeing it, and so that was a serious role at the time. Then I was booking. I booked Wilfred with Elijah Wood, and then I booked a bunch of commercials. I booked a bunch of TV shows like Tattoo Nightmares and a bunch of stuff. And then my big one of my biggest commercials was I did this Arizona lottery commercial. And nobody believed me, but I swear nobody believed me because I came home and I was like, guys, I just got the biggest commercial ever. Like, what is it? I was like, it's the Arizona lottery commercial. But if you went to Arizona, I was at the Quick Trips, right there, cardboard cutouts. I had billboards, everything, and nobody believed me. And I was like, man, fuck, I gotta go out there and rob one of those cardboard cutouts or something, man, and bring it back. And so around that same time that I'm booking all this stuff, everything's coming so it's not as consistent as I wanted it to be. Like the checks. I kept wanting to go out to auditions, but it was just really hard to make ends meet on an actor's budget, on a struggling actor's budget.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that to some degree. And so I decided to. I was like, you know what? I always wanted to film. I always wanted to get behind the camera. So I ended up. I got fired from my last job that I conned my way into that one as well. I was doing accounting.
Hey, who's got my check? Concrete. What?
This is good. I can't wait to hear this one.
The way I got that job is I remember going into
this place called the IRS.
Yeah, what the fuck? It's this place called Select, and it's like a temp agency. And I went in there and they gave me they sent me down this computer and they were like, well, what do you know how to do? And I had a bunch of lists and just go ahead and just click whichever ones you want to do. Yeah. And it said pottery and lawyer stuff and paralegal, and I was just clicking everything. I was like, I need a fucking job. I clicked everything. And the last one was accounting. I was like, that one too, I know how to do that. And 3 days later they called me, they were like, we got you a position. I was like, let's fucking go. And they're like, factory to you and Fallas Paredes, which are big clothing chains, right? Stores. They were they're looking for an accounting position opening up, a lower level accounting position. I was like, I'll take it. And, I go there with my fucking briefcase, my tie. I swear I had a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich in that briefcase. I had nothing in there. And then they just started giving me all this paperwork, and I was like, fuck, what am I going to do?
How long did that last?
I was faking it, man. I was just, fucking just taking, They used to give me these stacks of papers, and they used to be a lot of the vendors used to be like, hey, they owe us 90 cents. And then you have to call and tell them if they can take care of this. And I was like, 90 cents? So I'm fucking calling these vendors. I was like, hey, you guys owe us 90 cents. They're like, go fuck yourself. Yeah, no, I'll do that, but you still owe me 90 cents. So I'm collecting a quarter here, 30 cents there, 90 cents there. And then eventually it got to
$1.50. So you're like, I'm good.
Yeah. The real accounting where I started had inputting and making, and then so the 90 days came up, and the dude was at the time they knew that I was trying to be an actor, and the manager, he's like, hey man, he's like, I like you, I like you, man, you bring good vibes here, but you're not in accounting, huh? And I was like, nah, man. He's like, I know, you've been fucking everything up, type of shit. He's like, look, you want the good news or the bad news? I was like, well, give me the good news. The good news is that I'm gonna pay you. The bad news is that you're fired. I was like, all right. He's like, but just do me a favor. He's like, follow your dream. I remember he told me, he's like, follow your dreams, bro. Don't do this shit.
Okay, I want to take a minute to talk about the one thing that can sink a scene faster than bad ADR: generic music. Let's talk about the library the big studios use and the networks rely on. We're talking about tracks from Hans Zimmer's team, Grammy winners, and composers who score the shows that we all watch. But here's the hustle. You can get that A-list sound for your indie feature, your pilot, your film, your high-end sizzle reel, whatever you're doing, right at extrememusic.com. Stop wasting time with cheap royalty-free loops that sound like everything else. Get to extrememusic.com, find the track, grab the stems, get the license cleared, nail the tone. That's how you hustle with integrity. extrememusic.com for all your music needs.
Go be an actor. Go be whatever you want to be. And you be all right. You're young. And so I took that $800 check, man. And I called my wife and I told her, "Hey, do you want the good news or the bad news?"
I got $400 for you.
I was like, "We got $800. We can go to Curaçao and get a camera." And then the other 400 will give it, because at the time I was living, with her and her parents, and I was like, we'll give the rest to your mom for groceries for the week, and give me a week to figure shit out. She was like, fuck it. So we go to Curaçao and we get the camera, little DV camera, and I started shooting like little pieces for all the rappers I knew. I was like, hey, dude, let me do like a YouTube piece for you. And they were like, YouTube? I was like, yeah. I was like, I got the plug. I was like, if you give me $300 more, I'll put it on YouTube for you. And like people didn't know at the time, man. So it was just a hustle for me. It was just a hustle for me. I was like, I gotta make a little extra change. So I would charge them $200 to do like a little like documentary piece, and I would do the voiceover like if it was like some fucking big time documentary type shit, And then it went from that to music videos, to shorts, and man, I ended up traveling the world doing it, like literally traveling the world, seeing the world through a lens.
But wait, so you started doing these pieces for the rappers, and then they would take you on tour with them?
A lot of them would, yeah.
Oh, is that how you got to see the world?
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
That's great.
And then, or I would get hired by different companies. Like I used to work too for Tidal and Rock Nation. They used to send me out to do pieces for different artists. I did one for Yandel in Puerto Rico. So
behind the scenes and like
everything,
in videos, everything.
Are you stepping up your gear at this point? You still got the little hand.
Oh no! By this point, we got the red cam. We got all the
Oh wow!
gear,
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We got some nice glass. We got the whole deal.
Dude, red cam's kind of a big deal. That's
at the time, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
what are you doing? Rent though?
What are you doing with that brick?
They still rent though.
They do. And obviously, I mean, around 2014 when I got my first big gig, this rapper by the name of Black Chill, he had a big hit in the 90s, and it was like, I'm like Romeo and Juliet. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was a big hit in the 90s, and I was excited to work with him. And they called me, they're like, hey man, we want you to direct this video. Black Chill saw some of your work. He's like, he knows that you work on budgets, and I was like, I do. Like, I was known for the guy that you would give him $2,000 and you had a $20,000 music.
Yeah, the booty budget.
That was your accounting, dudes.
That was like, yeah. I was like, I would take nothing and make it something big.
Squeezing that 90 cents.
Yeah, bro. And so I go to this meeting, and I remember they were like, yo, we're gonna do it at Chili's, and I was like, fuck, I never been to Chili's. I fucking got dressed up for it, dude. I literally threw on a nice shirt, slacks, and everything. Again, I had my briefcase with nothing in it type of shit, And I get there, and everybody's like in fucking sandals, and I was like, oh shit, I had never gone to Chili's, bro. This shit was new to me. And I'm sitting there, and they're like, cool, man, we're going to give you a budget. And they like, so we're going to give you 10 G's for this music video. And I was like, I almost fell out of my fucking chair because I had never gotten that. But I was getting $1,000 music videos, And I was like, 10 G's? I was like, fuck.
You want 10 of them?
Yeah, and then they were like, and then so the executive producer was like, and we're gonna pair you up with Anthony Cook. He's gonna be your first assistant director. I said, cool. What the fuck does he do? I didn't know what the fuck he did, right? And Anthony Cook saw me, and he was like, man, I can't wait to work with you. He saw my work, and then. So we get to the first day on set of the music video. We're shooting at some stages in downtown. First time ever me working on stages. There's a bunch of sets. I have a crew of about 15, 20 people. And I get there at 6:30 in the morning. And everybody's like, all right, cool, man, you ready? And I was like, yeah, what are we doing? And the dude's like, I had my little script of what I wanted, I always knew what I wanted. I always knew what I wanted to see. Yeah. And it was easy for me to just see it visually and explain myself, but I didn't know terminology. So the beginning morning meeting is like, hey, so you're the director, you got to talk to the crew, let them know what we're going to do. And I was like, all right, cool. He's like, hey, what kind of light do you want? I was like, a bright one back there. No, but do you want tungsten or do you want daylight? And I was like, what do you think?
Great.
You know, what do you think? Oh, you know what? I think we should do this. Yeah, that looks good, you know? Throw a little smoke over here, do this. And then, like, during lunch break, he's like, Anthony pulled me to the side and he was like, hey, man, hey, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, huh? I was like, I don't know what I'm saying. I know what I know what I want. He's like, okay, I'm gonna help you. You tell me, and I'll relay it to the crew because I didn't know about like C stands or flags or a C-47 or terminology that I just wasn't, knowledgeable.
And you actually don't need to know about that. If you're a director, you don't need that.
I just knew what I wanted.
Yeah,
you know,
that's your DP.
Yeah,
that's your first date.
You know,
so you tell them your vision, and they execute.
Right, and I didn't even know I was a DP because I was structuring the shots and I was structuring everything. The DP was more like my camera op at that point, you know. And so I knew what I wanted, but I just didn't know how to communicate it. And then, so we shoot the music video, we edit it, it comes out beautiful, everything's dope. And Anthony calls me, he's like, hey, man, he's like, you're really good at what you do, man, for not having no education. He's like, what if he's like, I'm an instructor at the New York Film Academy in Burbank. He's like, I can get you in. I'll give you the answers to the tests, and you'll be a TA. And all you have to do is sit in the back of the class, shut the fuck up, and just learn. Do you want to do it? I said, yeah, let's go. He's like, good, because it's a fucking $100,000 school, semester type of shit. And I was like, let's go. And then so my first instructor was Anthony B. Richmond. He shot The Sandlot. He shot Man of Honor. And he really, like, nobody wanted to work with him. Nobody wanted to be his TA because he was kind of tough. And he was a little, he's older gentleman, no bullshit kind of guy. And I would just sit there, man, and I wasn't asking no questions. And then it went from like, can you give me my coffee? I got you. Can you go, can you bring my car to the front I got you. Hey, can you come to my house and pick up some stuff that I got I got you.
You take care of my wife. I got you.
And then it went from little simple tasks to him like breaking down how he shot this, how he shot this and how he shot this scene and how I was working here and how he shoot the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and all this stuff. And I mean, he taught me some really, really good fucking jams that I wouldn't have gotten even if I was a student because he wouldn't have these conversations or like these certain lighting techniques. He was teaching the basic. He was teaching the curriculum. Yeah. But he was teaching me the stuff that you don't get from a school, bro. He was teaching me like the grit and the stuff that you go through unless you go through it. You know what I'm saying? And that was really cool, man. That I had a blast. And I was there for 4 years, man. I started with the class and and when the class graduated, when they were upstage getting their diplomas, I was like, I got mine too. I got mine too. I didn't get a diploma, but I kind of felt like I graduated with the class because as soon as I graduated, I left too. I was like, this is it, man. I got my master's.
You went for 4 years?
Yeah. Wow. So I used to work at the Universal Backlot right here.
Yeah.
So to be doing this shit now and to be, say, in this building and be in the behind the scenes, it's weird because I used to teach the kids right here. I mean, we used to see the trolley go by and people fucking waving at us, and we're over there in the back lot. Like I'm teaching the kids how to use cameras and how to do all that good stuff.
That's pretty awesome. That was the LA Film School?
That was New York Film Academy.
New York Film Academy.
Yeah. So the New York Film Academy had a contract with the Universal Backlot.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, where they would teach classes in the back.
That's the one right on that corner, right?
Yeah.
It's right on the
Yeah. And there's another building off on the other side where like the Warner Brothers. Yeah.
That's pretty great. It's amazing that you, after doing all the work that you did in rap, in music, in music videos and all that stuff that you were doing, that you actually took the time to spend 4 years doing that. That's amazing.
You made it when there's like stories out there about you that you don't even know about and people tell people. Because I heard a story when I heard that he was going to host The Way Out Loud. I was all concrete. I don't know who told me, like, oh yeah, dude, he used to work construction. He was funny. And so they told him like he was an electrician or something.
You're funny, fool.
They're like, you should do stand up, and I was like, they're telling me, I forget who told me. Somebody told me this. Somebody we know.
Funny. No, and that's funny because people always ask me like, why concrete? And so I used to go when I used to rap. I used to go by Beretta, and the reason I was Beretta is because a Beretta has 16 bullets, and when you write a verse for a rap, it's 16 bars. So that was my correlation to it. It was.
Deep.
I never shot nobody, man. I never killed nobody. That wasn't me. But the persona in the studio was there.
Yeah.
In the studio, I was murdering motherfuckers every day.
Yeah.
You know, I was
Streets.
killing motherfuckers. You know,
hard streets of Burbank.
yeah. And when my boy passed away, I didn't want to hold that negativity. Like I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to get away from it as far as possible, as much as I could. And when he passed away, you know, I think anybody that you have passed away, like close to you as a friend, maybe you know when you're that young, at least for me, it matured me immediately. It was like it woke me up. It was like, hey, get your shit together. That could be you, bro. You know, and I kind of felt in a way like, man, he sacrificed his life to show me what, bro. You got to stop what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah,
it's either you stop or you're gonna end up like me, type of shit. And I wanted to change my name too, and so just like concrete, like it hardens and it becomes solid, and then you can build on a solid foundation. And that's why I decided to go with concrete, because I became solid. I was able to build on that foundation. Not the sexiest name, but it's something that just kind of meant something.
It means
to me.
something, yeah. It's
well,
not
you
just
can go con for short, which how you got in that accounting position.
Yeah.
I laugh about that because there's stuff that when I was looking for jobs too, I'm like, can I do that? Should I put? And you said yes. I can do that shit.
Yeah, dude. You know.
And then when did you get into comedy? Like how'd that happen?
So I got into comedy in 2018.
Oh, that's recent.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
2018. So I was doing a music video in LA at the Fairfax district over there where the Miracle Mile lights are at. And I was doing a music video. It was the last scene. I was like, you know what? Let's go shoot the scene real quick. Just quick little scene at Miracle Mile. Just you two guys walking. And we parked the truck like right across the way, but you couldn't really see from the Miracle Mile. Like you couldn't really see the streets because it's kind of like adjacent to the other street. And we parked the truck with all the gear. We had 2 cameras. I took my camera. I took 1 lens, but I left everything else in there: lighting, laptops, everything. I had hard drives in there, brother. And then so the shot wasn't no more than 10 minutes. We came back. Everything's fucking gone.
Oh,
fuck! Dang.
Everything is fucked. Everything was fucked, dude. And it wasn't like just my shit, but it was also rentals that I had got. Like I remember I rented this fucking Sony, the Sony monitor worth $100,000 and shit. And they ended up like dropping it a block away because it was too heavy. They were like, so they just kind of chucked it. They're like, fuck this shit's too heavy. They didn't even open it. Hence, they wouldn't know it was a $100,000 monitor. They probably wouldn't do that.
No.
So I lost everything, dude. In fact, I had hard drives in there that I had music videos that I had just recently shot in Honduras. I had just shot.
irreplaceable.
Gone. I had to call. I remember calling Danny. I had a music video when Danny Trejo's artist. I had to call him and be like, hey, this is what happened. The tough ones were the Puerto Rico stuff, the Honduras stuff that I was still editing.
Yeah.
I just wasn't finished with it yet. And I had those hard drives just because I had them in that backpack for whatever reason that day, and I didn't leave them at the studio, at the office.
And they just probably hucked those in fucking garbage.
They just chucked them, bro. Yeah. Like, didn't even give a shit, And I lost everything. And to me, at that point, like, I remember me and my wife were crying because we had invested all our money. Like, everything that I was making, I was investing it. Marty was the one that invested in me early on. He gave me $5,000 to buy my first red cam.
Who's Marty?
Marty's right there.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, so So Marty, so I met Marty back in 2014. He was managing an artist by the name of Angel Lopez. He used to sing on this group called Song by Four, huge song in the 2000s. And so he was managing him at the time, and I met him through a publicist, through my wife's publicist, and so Marty was like, hey man, do you want to come on tour so we can, so you can shoot my artist? And I was like, yeah, let's go. So we went. He took me everywhere, took me to Miami, all kinds of places. And so at the time, Marty, like we just became really good friends, And I asked him, I was like, hey man, I need some money. Like, I want to see if you can invest in, I need this red cam, dude. Like, I'm not gonna move up in the industry if I don't get this red cam. I'm starting to compete with red cam people, and I'm still on a DSLR. I'm still on a Canon. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I remember he made me do this fucking presentation portfolio. I went to fucking Kinko's and shit. He was like, you gotta present.
Did you put back on the button up and the slacks again with the briefcase?
He was like, present your plan of execution. And I was like, fuck. So me and my wife are sitting there like, what are we gonna do? Yeah, ooh. So yeah, man, he ended up investing in me. And again, man, it's people that come in your life that just kind of change your trajectory of life. And where you're gonna go.
Well, I think the thing that we can all relate to is, sometimes you hit bottom. You lost everything. All of your equipment, other people's equipment, probably payment for the jobs that you had done.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yes, I mean that's devastating, right? Especially with your wife. So once people hit bottom like that, it's like almost like a phoenix, right? You rise up, people show up. So the next move was to get a camera, but then how did you get into comedy?
Well, I ended up at this point. I was bartering an office space for like work.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting another camera. Like I ended up, just getting a credit card and getting another little DSLR. And I was like, okay, let me start from scratch. But at that point, I was already like, I don't want to do all this shit again. Like I don't want to go through this shit again. I already fucking did it.
How long did it take you to accumulate all of the equipment? And
like 8 years, man.
8 years, yeah, that's a lot.
8 years,
Yeah.
And then so, I'm at this office that I'm bartering for work. And I'm like, man, what the fuck am I doing, man? I'm just in the desk, and no work is coming in because everybody knows that my shit was stolen. I put it on Instagram. I did a little video on Instagram, and I was in black and white too for dramatic effect. And I was like, if anybody has any news or anybody out there that knows, look, I just need the hard drives. Just give me the fucking hard drives. Fuck the cameras. Fuck the laptop. Just give me the
Keep
hard.
all this shit.
And nothing came out of it. And one day I'm just sitting there, man, and I'm like, fuck, dude, this sucks, man. I don't know what to do. And I remember I went and got like McDonald's. I'm just sitting there watching YouTube videos. And I see this video of this lady getting dragged out of a liquor store. And it's like POV of her getting dragged out of the liquor store. And the guy in the liquor store is like dragging her out because she was caught stealing. And I was like, that liquor store resembles the gas station liquor store down the street. I said, what if I stitched myself in that video? And I remember I waited all day for the right time and the right lighting, because I knew that in order for this to work, I have to get the right lighting, the right angles, the right color tone and everything. And I was like, okay, cool. I need to wait till the sun is coming down. Okay, perfect. And then I waited till like 5 p.m. and then I went in there and shot it. And the clerk was like, what the fuck are you doing, Chris? I was like, dude, I'll be back in an hour. I'll show you what the fuck I'm gonna do. And then so I stitched the video, and I'm acting like I'm scared, and I'm acting like, oh my God, behind the chip rack and shit, And I put myself in the video. And then so I went and showed it to the guy. He was like, that's incredible. That looks amazing, dude. Like, it looks like you're actually there. And I was like, I know, right? And then so I posted it on my Instagram, and then it was like, I just put my phone. I remember I posted, I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? And then I look back, and it's like 30 comments, and I'm like, dude, before I used to travel the world, bro. I would only get 4 comments. My mom, oh, have fun, be careful. You know what I'm saying? Mira, mijo, you made it, and now I'm like 30 comments, and I'm like, 30 comments? Oh my God, this is hilarious. I've never seen shit like this. It's funny. What the fuck? Concrete, keep going. And I'm like, and then I put it down at 150. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I called my girl. I was like, babe. She's like, I see it. Keep going. I was like, keep going. Are you sure? Yeah, keep going. And then it was kind of like a snowball effect. I just kept, I remember leaving this. I grabbed all my shit, and I'm like, E-Dub, I'm out of here, bro. Thanks for the opportunity, but I got to figure this out. And I just went home, and then I started just, my little laptop, my phone, and I just started creating videos, bro, just creating videos. And it just bubbled up until the point where I told my girls, like, do I embarrass you by any chance, me doing this shit? We're married. Like, do I embarrass you? Because I'm a 33-year-old dude at this point. I'm not a fucking 21-year-old kid trying to make it in the industry on social media. Social media is a young man's sport, right? So I was like, do I embarrass you at all? She's like, nah, you make me laugh. I said, say no more. I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. I don't care what anybody else says. And then it went from doing those kind of videos to now I'm starting to create characters. I'm starting to bring back, like, I remember I did Stevie B. He got mad at me for making fun of him. We ended up clearing it out. And, so I started making fun of...
Spring Love got pissed?
Yeah, hey. Spring Love. But his daughter was the one that's like, Dad, he's making you relevant.
Exactly, I was about to say.
So then it just kind of bubbled from there, man. And I never meant for it... Once I knew what I was doing, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go audition Instagram's gonna be my fucking audition page.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to do stand-up because I always felt like I was just a comedic actor. I'm just an actor. I'm just doing comedy. I kind of saw myself as a Will Ferrell, like, I don't do stand-up. I'm just a comedic actor, which is a big difference, you know. I didn't want to disrespect the craft because I was like, you know how long it takes for motherfuckers to really get into stand-up? Like, it's not that easy, right? To just go up there and do a bit and hope it works, right? And it wasn't until Jerry Garcia hit me up and he's like, "Hey, bro, I heard you did stand-up," and I was like, "Yeah, I tried it in Vegas, bro. I fucking bombed. It was really bad. I remember getting off the stage and some dude was like, hey man, you'll get him next time." And I was like, what the fuck? Well, because I thought I did pretty good. Like, my ego was like, you did great, buddy.
Yeah.
And then some other dude was like, hey man, you can't win them all, dog.
Can't win them all, doggy. Yeah. You'll get him next time. Keep your head up.
And motherfuckers are just passing me, and they're like, giving me, and then I finally get to my girl, and I was like, babe. She was like, yeesh.
Hey, oh.
She's like, babe, let's just have fun tonight.
I like
just
her.
have fun
I like
tonight.
her.
Let's just go have fun tonight. Let's forget about. I was like, forget about what? She's like, babe, you sucked.
Yeah.
No, she kept it 1,000. She's like, babe, that was really bad. Are you sure you want to do stand up? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't think it's for me. She's like, it's okay. Just keep doing your music, your comedy skits, and it's fine. And then Jerry fucking calls me. Jerry Garcia calls me. He's like, hey, man, we're doing this tour called Los Tóxicos. It's me, Jesus Sepulveda, and Creeper. And I was like, okay. He's like, we want you to host it. I said, brother, listen, man. He's like, no. Look, we just want you. Don't do stand up.
Don't stay away from that.
Don't do stand up. Just do whatever you want. You can do your characters. You can do those bookies. You can do whatever you want. Don't feel like you have to be funny doing stand up. And I was like, all right, say less. So the first one we did was the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. The Laugh Factory in San Diego. My first comedy show ever. I fell in love with it instantly, man.
Yeah. So just switching the POV of what you were doing on stage ended up freeing you up to be funny and to find your
And then eventually I found my voice and I started finding the timing, and through hosting and through just going up there and just really I started finding the timing, and that was just in 2023, 22.
So this is all recent because, dude, it feels like when I saw
48 months, bro. It's only been like 2 years.
It feels like you've been doing it your whole career, like your whole life.
2.5.
That's amazing.
And then it went from me being the host of the Tóxicos to like now I'm the headliner. Now I'm like it went from like people are actually here to fucking see me, dude. This is crazy. Like, okay, fuck, we're selling tickets, dude. Like, we're selling 300-400 tickets. Fuck, we just sold 900 tickets. Fuck, we just sold 1,000. What the fuck is going on? What is going on? And then I had no choice but to learn on the job, bro.
Yeah.
I had no time to write. I had no time to go and get better. It was like, you're selling tickets, get on stage, motherfucker.
Yeah. Is your routine or is your act different every time, or is it an act? Do you have like it written out?
What we're doing at Way Out Loud is not really what I do in my stand-ups.
So you are doing stand-up now?
Yeah.
So you went from hosting, now you're doing stand-up.
Yeah, so what I'm doing right now...
So were you scared to do that?
Basically, what I'm doing right now is how I started.
Yeah. What you bombed, where your wife said, babe, let's just have fun tonight.
It's just that now I got a lot better at it.
Okay, all right. So you went from hosting, which is like introducing and kind of doing your skits and having fun, to now you go up there and you'll do like a 5-minute set or whatever.
We'll do an hour.
Yeah.
You'll do an hour?
Yeah, easy.
Gee whiz, that's amazing. You know,
you'll get him next time, player. Don't worry. Keep your head up.
Comedy's hard, man.
Yeah, so the first time my wife saw me, I did a 5-minute. And
Yeah.
it was just me up there, the mic. It was in the middle of the summer in Vegas, outside. It's fucking disaster, dude. It was a fucking disaster. Like, I shit you not, the lady in the wheelchair rolled the fuck away in between my 5 minutes. She was like, I'm fucking out of here, dude.
It's too hot for this shit.
And then when I started hosting with Jerry, I introduced my characters.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what I'm doing now for Way Out Loud.
Yeah.
But really when I tour on my own shows, I'm just doing straight stand-up. There's no character. Obviously, I go into my acting because a lot of my comedy is physical comedy.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, I have this bit about an orangutan. I start walking like an orangutan, and people love it. You know, so a lot of my comedy is really more. From what I've heard, it's like people are like, "Yo, I can visualize what the fuck you're talking about."
You're a good storyteller, that's what
I can
comedians
visualize
have to be.
it, and so that's what I try to bring to it. It's not just a bit. I try to put people into like you know, at a movie theater, and if I could, it'd be a fucking play, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I love doing the stuff, how we're doing that Way Out Loud, because it lets me, like, I feel like I'm in a theater back in the 1920s, and I'm just doing my act outs, and it's fun, and I can be a fake magician, or I can be a wrestler, or I can do whatever I want, and that's the fun part. That's where I think that's where I shine. You know, that's where I can really show people what I can do, going from different characters, and you know, not just giving you a one-dimensional character.
That's pretty awesome. Tell us about Way Out Loud, David. You're part of Way Out Loud. You show up every Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I'll do a Way Out Loud. We got into contact maybe a few months ago, and at the time I was already doing something similar called Class Clowns, where I was bringing a bunch of different comedians, and you know, we were doing different sketches live on stage. So we were doing a lot of these sketches, but on a grander scale. We had like props and all kinds of stuff, and then in between we were throwing comedians, and then so when they called us about Way Out Loud, it was, you know, somewhat of a similar concept, and I was like, well, why don't we just join forces and kind of do it together? I'm like, this could be bigger than what it is now, and so we started doing that, and you know, right now we're on our third, fourth show, and you know, we're just, you know, with Mario being, you know, like spearheading this, I think it's good because it just kind of shows people that, you know, people in position are not gatekeeping, and they're trying to put people into a position to win, you know. Like I always tell people, like, Mar doesn't have to do this. Like, he's worked his ass off to get where he's at. Like, he has, you know,
we're talking about Mario Lopez.
Yeah, Mario Lopez. He doesn't owe it to any of us. He doesn't owe it to me. He doesn't owe it to any of his. He's built his own on his own way, under his own terms, and he's done a fantastic job at being successful, keeping his nose clean and doing the right thing, right? So he doesn't have to do it. It's awesome that he's able to reach back out to us and to want to pull us up and be like, hey, use my name, use my platform for some notoriety, and I think that helps, you know. And in return, we hope that we can bring good comedy and do well under his name, you know, because at the end of the day, it's up to us to make him look good in a way, you know. Imagine if he brings out nothing but dudes that are fucking bombing, that's not gonna work, you know. So, you know, it's like, I feel like it's a fair exchange, you know. He helps us out in notoriety and gives us a name that people recognize, and in return, we put on a good show and make everybody look good, you know.
The shows are killing too. It's every Wednesday night at the Laugh Factory on Sunset Boulevard.
You're gonna reinvent yourself once again.
Really, like when I look at my career and who I want to be like, it's definitely someone like Jamie, you know, someone that's been successful in almost every aspect of entertainment, you know. Yeah. We want to do movies, man. That's a natural progression for anybody doing stand-up. You want to do comedy movies. You want to get out there and become the Kevin Harts of the world and the Eddie Murphys of the world, and to do big blockbuster films, you know.
Well, I think it started as an actor. You wanted to be an actor. This is how comics that I know, they start like that, and then comedies, they go into like Groundlings or like, you know, Second City or some improv crew just to kind of sharpen up their acting skills. And then they're funny, so then they say, "Oh, fuck it, let's just go do open." You know, and it's a natural progression. But they initially start off wanting to act, right?
Right.
Comedians go up and they try something and they commit, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You know, and then you got to move on, right? You got to move on from that didn't happen.
Yeah,
you know?
you can't let it bug you. You know, you can't let it bug you. Sometimes, you know, when it hits, it's like
amazing.
Dude, it's orgasmic.
Yeah.
Euphoria.
Better than any drug.
Dude, once it hits and that dopamine is, let's go. You love it.
It's like hitting a home run in baseball.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's a drug, dude. It's a drug. Like, as soon as you make people laugh, you're like, it worked.
Yeah.
It fucking worked. And when you bomb, it's like, you want to go into your car and just fucking drive out of that motherfucker off the fucking cliff, you know? Like, there's been times where I wanted to go home and just be like, I'm done. It's what am I doing?
The one thing that I was thinking about and that I asked AI about, I was like, hey, so are stand-up comedians immune to the AI generation? And AI was like, yeah, probably comedians are the one area where AI is probably not going to come up with new stuff, because it's about how you deliver the joke, not the joke itself.
And it's delivery. And I think with that, I mean, there's a sense of connection when you go watch a show, right? I think it's kind of like magic in a way. Like, you got to see it there to believe it. Like, it's different for me to see magic on television than for me to be there and you're showing me the magic. it's a different connection, and I don't think AI can technically take life experiences and turn them into comedy.
No, it can't.
Like a
Because
person
it doesn't
can.
have it, no.
Because it doesn't.
They can't even
have
really
it, right?
read a script and understand like where the comedy is in the script. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well,
No, thank you guys, man.
thank
for having me.
you.
Appreciate
Thank you for
guys.
being here. Thanks for inspiring people. Thanks for telling people your story. And yeah, we'll come back and tell us more. When you get the big job, you got to come back and tell us about it.
Shit, he ain't
Thanks,
come
bro.
back. He's starring with Jamie Foxx and Jim Carrey in his next film.
All right. Well,
dope.
thanks
That'd
for
be
being
dope.
here, and we'll
Love
see you guys
Thank
next
you guys.
time on Film Hustlers.
Good job, Roberts.
You know what clip I listen to all the time?